Hey class, so today I'm going to show you how to write your name or really any other word in graffiti style. So to do this you'll just need a pencil and a color Sharpie and a black Sharpie, a blank piece of paper, and a mat underneath. So to begin, you always want to draw really lightly, okay? The first few steps I'm not going to be pressing very hard at all. I'm going to start by penciling my name in super light, either all caps or all lowercase. Either way, it just needs to all be the same, about the same height, and pretty close together. You might even start to run out of space, but that's fine. With graffiti, it tends to look almost sloppy, but not quite, so it's okay if everything isn't perfect. You definitely should not be using a ruler for any of this. And then from here, you're going to very lightly turn each of your letters into block letters. So to do that, what I do is I call it hugging the line. I'm just outlining all of the lines I already have, and you might end up overlapping, and that is totally fine. You should do that. So I am just outlining all of the lines I already made, still doing it pretty lightly, and not trying to do it perfectly either. So I am just hugging the lines that I made before, and it's going to get a little bit tricky the more squished your letters are, so if you want to spread them out you can, but just make sure you keep track of where each line is and go behind the letter before it if it's overlapping at all. And then from here you're going to erase the original pencil lines, so all you're left with is the block letters. Okay, so now that I have erased those lines, all I have are block letters. And from here, to make it look a little more graffiti-ish or street art-ish, still working pretty lightly, what you need to do is get some of your letters to break downwards and some to go more upwards, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this stick of the M and have it go below the line. And then to balance it, I'm going to have a couple of other things over here go below the line where I was writing before. It's like anywhere where I can, I like to make it so it's a little bit asymmetrical, so it shouldn't be perfect. And then some that go above too. So some places where I can do that are where the M is. And I'll have my S go up a little higher too. This is why you were working really lightly before, because you're going to end up changing all of these a little bit. So that should be enough. I got 2 above, I have 4 below. Now I'm going to erase the lines I don't need so I can really incorporate my letters into those really tall or really long letters. Okay, so now I have some asymmetry going on. Other things I like to add to give it a little more character are like different shapes. So maybe at the end of each of my letters that go below, I'll add like a sort of like a rectangle to just give them a little bit of character, make them a little more interesting. Other things that I've seen in a lot of graffiti art are like each of these would actually be like an arrow or something like that. It's really up to you though, you don't need to include that part. And from there, you're going to create some shadows. So if you've done shadows on block letters before, you can make them whichever way you want. I think it's easiest to go down. So anything that I have facing downwards, I'm going to add a little black shadow to. So I'm just going to find the edge of each shape, and I'm going to outline it going downwards. So those might happen up higher for letters like T's. It could happen inside the middles of O's. It'll definitely be on all of these flat bottom parts of the letters. These parts of the I's and T's. Everyone's is going to look a little different. These all should end up looking different, actually. Because everyone should have their own style. That's what street art and graffiti is all about, being like unique, not really following rules, just going and doing what you think looks interesting and creative. So I think I have made shadows on all my letters, and now I will start to outline with Sharpie. I'm also going to color in the shadows black while I do this. Okay, so now that I have finished coloring in all my shadows and outlining everything, I'm going to add a little bit of color. But before that, I do want to point out, like, there are definitely some imperfections in mine. Like, this T is a little too squished. I realize that these look like L's a little bit. That's okay. Graffiti isn't about being perfect. It's just about being unique and showing your own style. So to add color, what I like to do is I like to outline this whole thing all as one. Just kind of going around all the lines that you have on here. Doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of get the general shape of this whole area. And then I'm going to color all that in nice and solid, but I might like include some cutouts in here too. So maybe I won't color inside of all of the little areas. But I'm going to color this green and then show you one more detail you can add also. And right now I'm just switching to a Crayola marker because this is way faster than using Sharpie. So now that I've colored the background, oh, besides this spot right here, now that I have colored for the background, I'm going to add a couple spots to make it look like they're like spray paint kind of blotches. What you'll do is you'll just draw a couple like half circles and maybe a full circle, and you'll connect it all together by coloring it in solid. Maybe there'll be a few just like random spots here, and just disperse designs like that kind of throughout this whole thing, and it'll end up looking a lot more street art-ish, a lot more graphic. I'll put one more down here. Okay, and then the very last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to outline all of that with my Sharpie again. This will just kind of clean up those edges a little bit where I maybe got a little sloppy, and it'll bring everything together and make it look really bold. Okay, so that is how you will write your name in a graffiti style. You will also get a sheet that looks like this, just to kind of give you a step-by-step breakdown of everything I did there. And then if you need to go back and watch this video, of course, you may rewind it and pause it as you need to. Have fun with this one, guys.